used to be a dump. We used to have old washing machines, bikes, big grass, old sheds. Lots of, like, people used to throw the old stuff from inside the house out here. Just didn't like it. Couldn't even play out here.
This is a piece of waste ground in the north inner city in Summerhill. It has been left behind after a housing development was built here in the 1980s. It's been used for dumping for years, and now it's going to be a community garden. Dublin City Council are licensing this piece of land over to us as a community group, and us being people from Sean O'Casey Avenue who back onto this piece of land, and some residents from Summer Street North.
I'd say it's gonna be on a joke, like. Why it's like this, I don't know. But unfortunately, we're the unfortunate people that has to do it.
This community garden project started as part of a bigger plan. There was a fantastic community activist neighbour called Desi Mannion who lived in our street, and he was great for getting things done in the neighbourhood. And I've been living here for 5 years, met Desi, and became involved in a kind of a street refurbishment plan, I suppose, having trees planted on our street, having hanging baskets put in, period style street lighting reintroduced onto the street. And Desi unfortunately passed away before any of the work could actually be started. So the garden was kind of the tail end of all of that project, I suppose.
Right, so good luck. Right, see you later, mate. Alright, take care. Tell Max as well. Yeah. Okay then. I'm off.
Right. Oh, good luck, Annie.
Thanks. In a year's time, I'd hope to see this space as a reclaimed piece of land in the inner city that is now turned green. It'll have raised beds where people will be able to grow vegetables. There'll be climbing fruit trees against walls. There'll be a polytunnel that will be able to grow stuff inside out of season, and hopefully a space, a space that can be used for other things. For example, we could have meetings up here. There could be pumpkin carving things, lessons for kids during Halloween. Possibilities are kind of endless, really. Just needs a bit of imagination, I suppose.
I've been living up in O'Casey Avenue, Sean O'Casey Avenue, for the last 5 years, and it was just that when I was looking out onto the wasteland at the moment, the way it's been dug up, it was a horrible sight. I've been onto DCC to clean it, have it cleaned, which I had cleaned on a number of occasions, but unfortunately there was still a lot of dumping. Put leaflets around to try and stop the flow of the dumping, and to no avail it was happening. It was really a waste of DCC's money and a waste of my time trying to get a clean area I did ask DCC to tarmac at one stage, so we'd be able to keep it clean and park cars up on it. But to no avail, it couldn't be done. Looking out, my daughter's bedroom is onto the back of this site here, and looking out each morning, it's just looking at it's deplorable. So it would be nice to get something different, something that you can look at and be proud to. Pull up your blinds and open your window and let's see what it's like, you know what I mean? Totally different.
And I'm living here about 24 years, 25. Yeah, we had a rat problem, big time. They got into my attic and I had to get things destroyed that we had all our life, you know, from my parents back. Things had to be cleared out, my whole attic. Things, you know. It was that bad I wanted to leave home. Like it's years going on, like not just 1 year or 6 months going on, as long as I remember. I couldn't even come out my own back door. I couldn't hang clothes on the line, or I couldn't do nothing because of the rats. Some people don't mind them, but I'm just terrified of them. You know, I never thought I'd see this. Like I look out the window now and say, oh my God, it's wonderful. You know, it's like a dream. It really is like a dream.
If you've got a site, there aren't too many real obstacles. That the important thing is communication, is making sure everyone knows about it, and then making sure that people get the skills and the coordination to make it work, and then there's no reason why it can't be an ongoing thing. I found that because I'm also familiar with, in the West, you know, there's a very extensive community garden setup going on around Leitrim, Sligo, etc. And certainly in the times at the moment, there's more and more people getting into it, and it works really well. That would be the experience I've seen around. It does bring people together, because there's not always a hell of a lot of things that do bring people together the way we live these days, and it is one of those things that people can really get stuck in and just have a bit of fun as well, as much as anything else.
You coming? The interesting thing about this project and about any community garden, I think, is that it taps into a universal kind of level of knowledge or interest, and it creates a bit of a common ground for conversation, an excuse for conversation. People are going to work, people are coming back from work, people are going for lunch, people are going shopping, and there's always somebody passing who sort of makes a casual comment that leads into some kind of a conversation. But also it's created a virtual community of interest in just urban living these days, and why we've designed spaces that don't facilitate people to meet, don't feed people on a, you know, on any level really. They're just providing a space for people to get somewhere rather than to enjoy where they are, and also obviously very car oriented.
The reason I suggest that is because they're the hardiest. They're a very good quality one and they're very hardy.
Okay.
You've got, that's a knotweed peeping over the wall there, isn't it?
Is it really?
Yeah, that's knotweed. I think it's got great potential. Yes, it's lovely sheltered, so it'll be beautifully warm in the summer when the vegetables want to go here, and there's certainly the scope to have one really good tunnel growing up wide range of crops throughout most of the year. Plus there's plenty of room to do some outdoor vegetables, a bit of fruit and herbs, and having just a nice space, it looks like to me. I'm sinking in the mud.
We have the garden site mapped out to accommodate pretty much everything that we're planting, including bushes, trees, to include the footprint of the polytunnel, which is going in tomorrow or the day after. And so the rain has come, the ground has become very mucky again. We have a very good water conservation idea, water harvesting idea, and that's to collect water off the polytunnel roof. So basically we've come up with a plan whereby we'll put gutters at ground level either side of the polytunnel, so the water will run off the polytunnel into the gutters, and then at a Y junction at the gable end of the polytunnel it'll head underground for around 16-18 inches, where it'll go into a 1,000 litre capacity plastic tank underground, and from that tank underground there will be a submersible pump similar to the ones that you use in a boat for pumping water out of a sinking boat, and that'll be above ground and you'll be able to manually pump out the water. So we're hoping that that will go a long way in watering whatever we plant in the growing space.
Yeah, the schedule for the coming week is pretty hectic. We're trying to get the majority of the infrastructure work done in the next couple of days, and we're kind of depending on people to come as well on Saturday and Sunday because it's people's traditional days off. So I think it's going to be, if we get good weather on Saturday and Sunday, I would hope that 10 people will knock out most of the work here. The back gates you see behind me are going to be covered with the Children's Art Project, which kicks off in the spring of 2010. A really good community artist who lives on our street called Kathleen Sankey is going to be taking on that project, and it'll be, I suppose, a Saturday morning club for kids in the neighbourhood who will probably come out and have an art experience on the site as well.
Today we're going to have around 4 or 5 people here to put the main structure in the garden, put in raised beds. We know where stuff is going so far, so we'd be digging holes for trees, and really need to get this wall behind me painted. The weather is good, it's nice and dry. I'd like to get the whole thing painted today. Really will take around 4 or 6 people to get it done, I'd say. And then we'll come along behind the painters and start digging holes for trees and stuff, because we don't want to cover the trees in paint.
Right, can we, from that line, I'm just thinking, because I was going to make 3 long rectangular beds, kind of going that way, but I think they're going to add up.
Lunch, milk, apple juice, sandwiches, soup. That's it. About bloody time too.
You'd be able to see the technicolor after you eat your carrot. Yeah, exactly.
Take a photograph of the snops coming out of my nose here.
There's a wood up in there.
Come on, girls.
Wow.
Oh, locked in! Locked in! Locked it! No!
What's your name again?
Leah.
Leah, you gonna have soup? You probably have a smaller bowl, will you? There you are. Let's just spoon for you.
Here.
What's that going to be?
Oh, at the edge of a kind of
another one of these beds.
a garden that, yeah, that sort of goes in a curve, like with the way the fence goes.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just going to follow the curve of the fence on a couple of beds like this. Look.
Is that a flower?
Well, actually, I was thinking that might be a cherry tree right in the middle of that space there.
So is that
So I'm just trying to fit in those ones that you've made already. They're actually kind of.
Is that this? Or
there, really,
is that going to be over there? And what's that big circle up there? That. That's new. That's new, Kate. I know. Oh, Jamie.
Imagine the things they have. No, but these sugar and milk. No,
really appreciate it.
That's
great. Have a Kit Kat?
You can't.
Thanks very much for that. Very much appreciated.
Do you have a Kit Kat or biscuit?
Can't you have one?
I'm passionate about my community in Ballybock because I became a lone parent in the 1980s, and I found that people were extremely good to me in Ballybock. And now I just want to give back to the community what they gave to me in these hard times.
Cool, I'll get another bag of that. I'm going to put some more of that stuff in as well. We need to dig it out to get the bed set, but the amount we're going to probably, rather than leave the amount that's even going into the beds from this, but I reckon we're going to have to shift some of it out of the way and replace it to grow really decent veg in it without waiting for fucking years and years.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. The stuff down in O'Connell School would be ideal for this.
Okay. Have you got that kind of volume?
We've huge. There's bigger space than this coming out of O'Connell School.
When is that happening?
Well,
when is it happening in the school? Like,
well, we're going to make it happen yesterday. Right. I think everything should happen yesterday. What we're going to do is, if they're not using the land,
we'll go down and cut the locks now and go in and get it.
Well, we could do that now. I would be all for that. Okay.
So what I mean,
and it's better to ask for forgiveness than sometimes permission. Yes, you know that.
Exactly, it's got no grabber system.
Okay, we should be there.
Oh, that bit, yeah.
He's going to get us.
Where's the toys? Oh, we got food for the plants.
It's seaweed and it's good for the plants. They do it in the west. So you can just spread it all around there, and then the people will dig it up like that. Dig it in. Will you take the stone? Is this good for the
It's good for growing the potatoes. It's the best thing you can get. In the west of Ireland, they grow their spuds in potatoes. Or in seaweed.
That's good.
No, that's not fish. That's part of a seaweed plant.
Seaweed plant?
Yeah, that's part of seaweed, and it attaches itself to the rocks.
Here's some more seaweed. What we are doing that, Mike? Tell your boy.
If you don't have good compost, you won't have good vegetables. It's absolutely essential. There's no nutrient in Dublin soil. That's what my father always said. And that's why he always put manure and compost into the garden. Every year it would come up from the dairies, the local dairies, which were everywhere when I was young. And they would come up and we'd have to wheelbarrow it into the garden. And we used humongous amounts of manure to grow vegetables. And we grew all our vegetables. We had potatoes from July till, say, May or June the following year. We would have apples. We had we didn't grow carrots because of carrot fly, but they've only recently discovered that if you put netting around carrots, the carrot fly, which infests the carrot, only flies about 18 inches off the ground. So if you have a net around your patch where you're sowing the carrots, you won't get carrot fly because they can't fly over the 18 inches. So your carrots will be safe.
Oh, okay. till we start planting.
Moving topsoil from O'Connell School, which is just on North Circular Road, up around 500 metres to the top of Summer Street where the garden is. So, mixing this topsoil with some horse manure and some seaweed. Hopefully that'll be enough to get stuff growing, hopefully.
We're not kicking off until this Wednesday with the kids thing, because I just want to get the gates sorted beforehand, and then we can kind of, Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Marion. See you later.
Look at three little globbies.
Okay, you take this paper.
Everybody's getting on the roof off the gate. And then we're going to be washing them with warm water. And then we're going to be painting all white. And then Wednesday, all the kids are going to make an idea. And then we're going to start painting mad ideas and all the gates, and it's going to make a big picture.
This is a quick wash down, and it's such a lovely day that it's going to dry really quickly.
And then we're going to stick all the anti-rust stuff on it. And we'll be ready for base coat.
We're going to be asking each household for €20. Do you want to give more, you can. Yeah, exactly. See what happens. For 20 is the lowest we take off. We need, I mean, this was a dump, Jennifer. I mean, we've all used it as a skip, you know. Yeah. But it's marvellous now what you have done, really and truly. And I mean, it's about time we gave a bit back.
Yeah.
No?
Well said.
Yeah. No.
Okay. His house. I'm doing planting today, and it's very, very, very fun, and I'm going to be watering them. And a few minutes ago, we were getting all the stones out of the ground there, and it was fun. Will I fill this up again? And
you won't be able to reach out.
We made sunflowers, and we brought them home, and we watered them and take care of them. And I brought my one into school. The teacher said that's very good. Will you bring it in when it's all out, when you can see it, when the sunflower grew? And I said, yeah. I'm supposed to be watering them as well.
Here you go. Take this, look.
I did them. Ooh, I'm not doing them yet. Oh, I know which one. That one, there's no plants in it. Daddy, look here.
Oh, Jennifer. How are you getting on? All the troops are out today.
I know, it's a lovely day actually.
Great, yeah.
It's the first time you think it's hard, but when you get to know it. And when you get used to it, you know it. And it gets better and better and better. Yeah. And you get 7-Up and 10-Up. And you get soup from someone.
Yeah, kids seem to be enjoying it anyway.
It's funny, you can give Nintendos and Wii's and stuff to kids, and they're in the middle of they're in the middle of a creative horseshit, and they're happier than.
They're happy. Well, it's true.
I like it very much because I got to plant lots of. I planted 35 plants yesterday. Runner beans, sunflowers, lettuce. That's it. 3, yeah, that's all. There's loads of runner beans.
Okay, do you want to do this one when you do the next one? Right, that's your hollow big enough. Just press there like that. And the hollow comes out into your hand. Okay, so just nice and gentle. Pop it into the ground. Push all the soil that you did. And put your hands, and just be gentle so you don't damage the stem, and then just give it a bit of a squeeze down like that. Now, you do that one there.
Well, how are you doing there, Nancy?
30.
Yeah, it's just
And then you come like that when I get water, that's how we water.
that's it, yeah, perfect.
No, I don't need
Turn it
water.
upside down, yeah.
John,
In a minute, yeah.
like are you ready for it?
Get it ready, yeah. Now, put your hand up, that's it, turn it up. And then just place it nice and gently into the ground. Now, and just so see this stuff that's all around, just push that all the way around it.
There's a rock.
Yeah. That's it. And then, just flatten your hand, yeah. Don't push too just near the stem. Try and stay away from the stem. Yeah, that's it. Perfect.
A radish. And it's our very first vegetable
In
the whole garden.
And they taste gorgeous.
And because these are starting and the strawberries are starting as well. I know what I'm doing. Oh, I do a red.
It's called the Secret Summer Garden. That's the name that everybody wants it to have. So in other words, like this is the one that doesn't ever turn to winter, you know, but has the eternal rainbow. And I love the worms. I have to say there's just something quite outstanding about the worms. Nothing like a worm sitting on a flower like that one over there, see. And someone actually wrote what it was, just in case you didn't realise, you know, a blue and red striped worm.
I'm painting all around this, it's like a mountain, and I'm painting all around it green. It's getting tricky. I have 3 types of paintbrushes. I have a roller, a small paintbrush and a medium-sized paintbrush.
I don't know.
It's fantastic.
Just pick a fly out of Carol. Sorry, Carol.
Thank you so much. And it is that kind of thing of the community kind of taking responsibility, and you know, this is, you know, we're taking responsibility for who we are. You know, we're enhancing our environment, and we're doing it with our crazy imagination. I mean, there's nothing, or you know, as you say, like it's all to do with growing. Like it's, let's just say the grander theme is that, in fact, you know.
We're digging a trench overflow system for the rainwater tank that's buried here behind me. It's a 1,000 litre water tank underground. This trench that I'm digging is around 22 inches deep. It's slightly deeper than the top of the tank, so when the tank fills with water coming from the polytunnel, it has an exit route, and this is going to be it here. It's going to be, I think, a rigid pipe with holes in it, and then it'll all be covered in gravel, so it becomes kind of a soak pit really for when the tank fills up.
Let's get the
you think it was made there, it would follow, wouldn't it? I wouldn't have done that in years.
So at the moment what we're doing is just chopping things out and getting things ready. And in a little while we'll stick all the pieces together, glue them all in place, seal it all up. We have putty here, sanitary putty, plumber's mate, to seal around it. Bit of silicone and fill the whole lot in, and we should be away with a hack. So anyway, there are plans. What plans have you got? Sabotage. Yeah. That's grand, that's enough.
We came back to college and with the idea of having a bicycle pump, and the first thing we did an internet search effectively of have people use bike pumps before, and there are several people around the world who've adapted the idea of pedalling into some mechanism for pumping water. In terms of the bike, we got a free bike from Trinity. At the end of the term, there's a lot of students just disappear and leave their bikes here chained up, so the ground staff, if you like, eventually cut off these old bikes, and so we got one of these old bikes from them. That's great, isn't it?
Oh, look at that.
Vroom, vroom. Is it sure?
So, going hammer and tongs isn't necessarily...
That's a good flow rate. No, but I think that was to fill it first, I think. Yeah.
5 minutes of effort is enough. You might want to put this somewhere else because I'm getting soaked here. Oh no, get the salt all part.
I'm going back now. I've got to go to fitting it.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. I can leave you my office.
Hello, loneliness, I think I'm gonna cry. Bye, bye, love, bye, bye, sweet caress. Hello, emptiness, I feel like I could die. Bye-bye, my love, bye-bye. There goes my baby with someone new, someone new. She sure looks nice.
The woman that used to think was married was dead, man. Ew, my friend has an Easter egg like that. Noodles. Can I? Back, 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 back. Can you cook, Cor? Nice one you did.
I love it.
Our garden is designed specifically to attract bees into the urban gardener. We're encouraging urban gardeners to plant in order to sustain the bee population, which is in decline. So our message is very simple. There are 4 things that we can do to encourage bees into the garden. We can plant the food, the nectar and pollen producing plants. We can provide water for the bees. They like shallow water so they can land and drink without drowning. We can provide shelter, and we've had some very bad summers, so it's a good idea to provide shelter for the bees and also a place to sun themselves. So there are the 4 basic things that bees require, and it's a very small effort on our part for a great return, a great reward. So we would be encouraging gardeners to do that.
A number of kinds of flowers that bees actually are attracted to. A single-headed variety is very important as opposed to a double or triple-headed variety, and also umbrella-shaped plants where the landing pad of the flower head is wide and the bee can actually land onto that easily, and also bell-shaped flowers like the foxglove where they can actually go into the inside of the flower and take shelter if the weather is bad.
Ready? Mine, everyone in out.
So
what we do generally is bring people together just to sort of exchange tips about growing their own. So it works on two levels. It's a very practical thing in that people get, you know, they get a lot of tips from each other, and they help each other to get better results from their growing. But the sort of byproduct of that, I suppose, is a sense of community from, you know, getting together with like-minded people. So it doesn't even necessarily need to be community gardens, but even when you bring together people in any venue to talk about growing, you're creating a sense of community as well, which is absolutely wonderful as far as we're concerned, you know.
Bees are actually on the decline in a very, very big way. They reckon that 25% of the bees in Ireland died over the last 3 years because of our bad weather. So they're really up against it. And Einstein once said that if bees are extinct, mankind has 3 years to survive. It's not actually that dramatic, because they've discovered since that other flying insects will also pollinate, so that we will still have our fruit and vegetables.
I'm going to do a project about the garden. Like, I'm going to take pictures of it and all like that, write about it. And then when I go back into school, bring it into school when I'm in 5th class and show me new teacher.
You could try it. It could be an experiment and see what happens. Yeah, do.
The mister was saying like it must have been a big change because like it was a dump, you said, and then so that's what, and that's why I'm going to do a project about it, and then show them, and then they'll know, and like I just might take a picture of the posters out there of the dump, and then they'll know what it was like before, and the big change now.
Okay, get your fork underneath there, yes. That's it.
I always loved gardening. You know, even like a young person, I love gardening, flowers, vegetables. So it's just brilliant to come in every morning and do it. Pleasure.
That's just from the one plant?
That's from the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go another one?
Can we dig them all up now?
It's brilliant, it really is. It's like a dream come true. I've said that before, but it is great, really. Like everyone says the same thing. Like, it's brilliant, you know. It's peaceful. Like when you go to mass, it's peaceful. You just gather your thoughts together. So when you go into the garden, it's peaceful without the children. And good, gathering your thoughts together.
Leah, are we using your barbecue tomorrow?
Yeah.
So, my name's Phil Tomlinson. I live on Emmett Street, which is just a block or two from here. We've lived here for 3 years now. We've been looking to get involved with the community now for a while, and it's not easy living in the city centre. You know, we're kind of outsiders here. Me particularly, not being Irish. You know, they all think I'm English, which doesn't stand me in very good stead. You know, we're just delighted to get involved. We're delighted to meet new people in the neighbourhood. We're delighted to give our child, who's coming now in a month's time, a chance to get to know the people in its community, get to grow up with the local kids, not to feel as if they're in any way different from anyone around here. And you know, this garden and what's happening here is a great way for that to happen, you know.
Right, there's. Look when I pull this one. Pull out gently, they get big. They're all over there. See, there's a carrot, and we're cooking these for tomorrow for the barbecue, and we're putting roast vegetables on it. There's loads of them. Now let's get back to the job. Will they grow more?
Oh yeah, they'll grow more.
What else is there to eat?
Lettuce.
Here, look.
You can eat a bit of them.
You need that?
I can't eat some of them.
No. What are you looking for?
Weeds.
No, not weed. It's going mad in behind the raspberries. Yeah, there's loads. They're hard to see, you see?
I can see a huge weed. See it there? That one that I have
back, yeah. I see it.
Look what I have my hand on, look. Oh yeah, there's the cheek and look.
Yay, good man, yay.
Now you're a real Irishman.
Yeah. Big basket of spuds. Now.
This is an onion, and I'm going to eat them all.
Vegetable in the whole garden.
No, I did. I ate it.
But I picked it.
No, this is Judge Judy. You're the court. I ate it.
And you give them one side, okay?
The band then.
What is that in the Johnny?
Huh? I don't know, we're cooking chocolates, are we?
We're making packets of vegetables that we got out of the garden. So all the potatoes and the beetroot and the carrots and everything we picked at the garden yesterday. So we're making vegetable packets now. And we're going to put them on the barbecue.
No, mine don't. No, listen, you don't put that salt on. You won't. Yeah.
Very good.
What prizes? Loads of prizes. There's a drill. What else, Marion? There's a drill, binoculars, there's a lady's hamper, a gent hamper, a child's hamper, 5,000, loads. Yeah, okay.
Remember that.
Got very well last time I checked. No, I'm focused are massive. Fabulous.
I think that's probably a lot now. Heavy enough anyway.
I might. Ah, the smoke! Look there.
With one single step, cut the universe in half. Yes, you can